Chapter 3. Little Bird Part 2. Naruto and Hinata are running through the forest not long after their encounter, running at a faster than usual pace. Naruto, I have a bad feeling about this. Hinata expresses her fears. Damn it, if only we could get there faster. Naruto is visibly and audibly frustrated, punching a tree as they pass. If only I could also, he stops. A light bulb clicks. Hinata looks back and notices her partner is no longer running with her, so she goes back to him. Naruto? The blonde smears his blood on his palm and weaves the hand signs, slamming his hand on the trunk. In a puff of smoke, the same toad from before appears. From the unstable surface, he almost slips and falls off, but manages to hold on for dear life. Oi. What gives? Gamashi? Do you have a pond near Kusatsu? Hinata adds some information for clarification. It's on the border of the Land of Fire and Land of Steam. Mount Shirane and Lake Yumiak are nearby. Ah, I know that. You wanna go there? I can take you there with reverse summoning. Naruto gives a look of triumph, which quickly switches to a dejected look. Wait, we could have done this all along? Then why did we run all the way till now? You never asked. The toad shrugs. Hinata gives a sympathetic smile and pats him on the shoulder. Kusatsu Town. Naruto looks at the frightened Katori and then back at the other man. Whatever you're thinking, forget it. Visibly surprised and confused, the man tries to break free, but Naruto has too tight a grip on him. Naruto tugs his arm to put him off balance and places a hand on his stomach. Chakra gathers around his arm and the man is blown back from the force. Not a Rasengan. An unfinished version of it, the kind he made during his first training with Jiraiya. The man is blown back, but Naruto holds on for a moment later before the man begins dissolving in front of everyone's eyes and turning into liquid. Water clone. Uzumaki, the man says through gritted teeth before evaporating. You? What in blazes do you think you're doing? The mayor is furious. Naruto just glares at him. Hinata flickers right next to the mayor, a scroll in her hand. Mayor Tasaki of Kusatsu Town, correct? We're sent on an investigation from the Hidden Leaf. We'd like to ask you some questions. Wah? Leaf? I was never informed of this. He snatches the scroll and reads through it. His face turns pale. Mayor Tasaki, what's going on? Why are Hidden Leaf shinobi here? Who is that man? Shina demands answers, standing right next to the mayor. Meanwhile, Katori stares up at the blonde in awe. He squats down to be eye level with the girl and gives a big grin. Hey there, my name's Naruto. What's yours? She blinks. Katori. It's nice to meet you, Katori. You don't have to worry about a thing that just happened, alright? It'll all be fine. She simply nods. Takeo comes to her side immediately, confused as to what had just happened. Let's speak inside, Taseki. Shina addresses the scared man with a steeled expression. This way. She turns to the Leaf Ninja and leads them inside, along with Takeo and Katori. Mizushi POV. Making their way up a mountainscape, Mizushi halts and looks back to Kusatsu in the distance. Oi, Barusa, hurry up. Uzumaki. He's already in town. Itsu stops as well. What? Already? How? I don't know. But I must ensure he does not follow. You go on ahead and inform Lord Fudo. Barusa sits on the ground and weaves a series of seals. Sure. Itsu makes her way further up the mountain. Mizushi sits down on a rock and begins weaving chakra. Seals and symbols spread out from under him. He does this until Itsu is out of sight, at which point he stops and opens an empty scroll. He lays it down and takes a brush and inkwell. From the corner of his eye, she spots Itsu fumbling again. Aiming for a footing further ahead than she should be able to reach, causing her to step on the side and pull herself up by focusing chakra on her soles. Mizushi makes a note of that, as well. He begins writing. Naruto Uzumaki's here. He's aware of my and Itsu's presence and is definitely going to get involved. At the end, he forms a one-handed seal and waits. After some delay, writing materializes on the paper on its own. Sooner than even we anticipated. Take your leave. It's not worth it. Mizushi thinks for a moment and replies. No, I'll see this through to the very end. There may still be an opening. And as I said, there's someone else of interest. This Itsu that's also working for Fudo? Yes. Is she worth the risk? Mizushi pauses. I believe so. Then do as you will. We trust your judgment. Just be careful, Mizushi. As I've said, Please refer to me as Barusa when on missions. It helps me stay in character. You don't have a character. The writing all disappears and Barusa huffs. He rolls up the scroll and begins following Itsu. Unbeknownst to him, there's something in his eye. The veins in his eyes have reddened unnaturally and subside almost instantly. Through his blood, through his chakra, his vision is connected elsewhere. Itsu's eyes are blood red, her iris darkened, and her pupil a horizontal purple slit. She saw everything through Barusa's, or rather Mizushi's, eyes. She clicks her tongue. Bastard. Kusatsu Town. Everyone had sat down at one of the orphanage's guest halls. Mayor Taseki on one side and Miss Shina on the other, with Naruto and Hinata behind her. Takeo and Katori were by door. Takeo, could you please take Katori outside? Before Takeo could say anything, Katori shakes her head. I wanna stay. This is about me, isn't it? A part of Shina knew the young girl should be here to hear anything that was about to be said, but Katori was mature for her age. Did that mean she shouldn't be treated as an ordinary 7-year-old? She turns her attention to the mayor. How dare you? Taseki protests. Who do you think you are to attack someone with no provocation? You leave speak of peace, but this is how you're trained to act? He rambles on. Hinata speaks up. Mr. Taseki, that man and a companion of his, attacked us on our way here. And there have been several instances of shinobi disappearing in the region, and they displayed the skills to do so. There are number 1 suspects. If you know them, then on the order of the Hokage and Daimyo, we'll have no choice but to treat you as an accomplice, with everything that entails. She was so confident in her speaking. Nothing like the meek girl Naruto knew before the war. Naruto looks from Hinata to the mayor with his yellow eyes. And don't bother lying. I can sense everything you're feeling. Every bit of anxiety and anger is oozing out of you right now. Katori looks up in surprise. Can a ninja do that? Shina pleads. Mayor Taseki, please, what have you gotten involved with? What did you try to involve Katori in? That's, he clenches his fists, I had no choice. They threatened me. I had to. Had to what? Hinata asks. He lowers his head. They needed somewhere to hide. Came here. They told me, if any shinobi disappeared, to just say I know nothing about them. Disappearing shinobi? This is my first time hearing this. And how does Katori factor into this? Was she going to disappear? Were you going to pretend you knew nothing? At some point Shina had stood up in her anger. Naruto places a hand on her shoulder. Where are they? I don't know. They just appear when they need something. Her breath becoming shallow at the news that the mayor was about to give her away to bad people, she breaks free from Takeo and runs out the door. She thinks about where to head and the only place that comes to mind is the playground out back. But is it even safe now? Takeo goes to chase after her, but what can he say? This is all so much, and he doesn't fully get all of it. Can he even comfort her? He feels a hand on his shoulder and sees Hinata. I can sense where she is. She's in no danger, as long as Naruto and I are here. She comforts him instead. And it is comforting to know capable ninja are here. But why this girl Katori? They've been after ninja so far, so why a little girl all of a sudden? Naruto asks. Katori is able to use a bit of chakra. She has a unique ability, a Kekkei Genkai, I believe it was called. But she's untrained and doesn't have mastery over it. Shina answer. That would imply they're after something else. The shinobi must be taken somewhere and used as a workforce or something more sinister. Hinata surmises. Takeo draws closer to the table. And you were going to give her to those kinds of people, you bastard. You never would have known. You would have continued living your peaceful life, and so would everyone in Kusatsu. But now, they'll never let this slide. They'll retaliate. We're all dead now, anyway. Not if I can help it. Naruto speaks up in his usual booming voice. Whatever they did to the missing shinobi, whatever they planned on doing to Katori, it all ends now. He gives the mayor a very pointed look and heads outside, followed by Takeo. The mayor begins standing up, but a quick jab at one of his pressure points by Hinata stops him in his tracks. Until reinforcements from the hidden cloud and hidden hot waters arrive, you're to remain under supervision. She then turns to the other two present in the room. I apologize, Miss Shina, I'm aware this is also sudden and shocking, but I'd like to take Katori elsewhere. If they're set on taking Katori and attempt again, the orphanage won't be safe. But if they want her, the orphanage would be the first place they try looking for her, putting the kids in danger. If they don't find her right away, the kids might be used as leverage. Ms. Hyuga, I know I may be asking a lot right now. Please remain and protect them. She bows. Takeo POV. Takeo runs after Naruto. The blonde doesn't even look to be in a hurry, and yet he's already so far ahead. Wait, Mr. Uzumaki. You can just call me Naruto. You were Takeo, right? The man nods in confirmation. The two walk for a few moments in silence. Katori, what kind of jutsu can she use? I don't really know the details, but she can summon feathers. They don't actually do anything, but I know it's not something ninja usually do. So why isn't she at an academy? If she can use chakra, she should be studying to be a ninja. Well, the thing is, we don't really have the means to send her. The orphanage has its hands full with all the other kids, so there's not really enough left over for the academy. I'm actually saving some from my guard job to help her, but I'm also helping the orphanage, so I don't really have a lot. He scratches the back of his head and gives a weak smile. Naruto looks at him and smiles. And you've been teaching her some fighting moves, right? Huh? How did you know? Takeo looks up, confused. When me and Hinata came, you were both pretty winded and wearing lighter clothes. No one else was. And if you're a guard, you probably know a thing or two. Takeo nods. That's right. We figured if she knew a bit more, she might have an easier time to get in the Leaf Academy. She's only talked about ninja since she first figured out how to conjure those feathers, about how she'll support Miss Sheena and everyone here. Everything she does is about becoming a ninja. So she's been working on her jutsu all on her own. That sounded awfully familiar. He only had himself growing up, where other kids had families to teach or support them. Or both. But Naruto, although it isn't fair to compare their situations. Katori apparently has the support of her extended family, so she had a bit of a head start. Katori POV. Katori is sitting on the porch just behind the orphanage, overlooking the playground. She's hugging her knees and pressing her forehead against her legs. Just moments ago she could have been seen crying, but now all there is to see are a pair of reddened eyes and a runny nose. She sniffs and uses her sleeve to brush her nose. A habit Miss Sheena always scolded them for. She hears and a cough made deliberately to alert her of a presence. The wooden boards squeak as someone sits next to her. She tilts her head ever so slightly, just enough to see who it is, and is met by a pair of deep blue eyes. She immediately hides back between her knees. I blew it. I finally met a real ninja, and I blew it. All those plans how I'm gonna impress them, and this is what I show. Stupid. He's never gonna take me seriously. After some moments of silence, Naruto mentions the first thing that comes to his mind as a subject. Takeo told me about what you can do. Great. He knows about my useless feathers. That sounds pretty cool, you know? Man, I wish I could do something like that when I was still learning. It's not. Her voice comes out muffled. It doesn't do anything. Can I see it? Well, he already knows, anyway. Not much point in hiding it. I wanted to get better before I showed a real ninja. She forms the bird hand seal and focuses for a few seconds. She strains her mind, pushing back whatever thoughts get in the way. It's taking longer than it should. But I guess it makes sense since she hasn't had any real training. Naruto muses. Finally, after what feels like an eternity for Katori, a feather appears in front of her and begins swaying in the wind. Naruto grabs it mid-air and inspects it. He probably already thinks I'm weak. Katori buries her head in her knees once again. Hey, this is pretty cool. I wish I had something like this when I was learning. Katori doesn't budge. He's making fun of her. Gotta be. No one would be impressed by a simple feather. Naruto notices her reluctance and lightly grumbles, not entirely sure where to start. He looks up to the sky and breathes in. You're still a kid, you know. I could barely do anything when I was your age. He crosses his legs. It takes a lot of training, and Takeo says you've been at it a lot. Even if it feels like you're not doing well right now, the important thing is to not give up. You're doing this for the kids in the orphanage, right? You care about them. That means you're on the right track of being a ninja, having a goal. And that'll push you to get better and better. His mind flashes to his younger days. All the times he failed a shuriken throw, or a jutsu or a practice match, and how much he trained on his own after that. How he never let anyone's opinion bring him down. How he finally gained good friends to care about and who would care about him in return. He gets up to his feet and gets off the wooden porch to stand on the grassy backyard. When I was old enough to graduate, we were tested on our jutsu. The most basic ones that every ninja has to learn before they officially head out. I just couldn't do it, and I was older than you are now. He begins weaving a set of seals for one of the ear ank jutsu. Hearing the distinct sound of hands moving to form seals, Kotori lifts her head to look at him. When Naruto finishes, a semi-transparent version of himself appears to his side, shape completely distorted, one leg above his head, an arm twisted behind his back. It more resembled a knot than a person. Kotori looks at him in disbelief. This is more or less what my clones looked like. It was kinda pathetic. He scratches his head in embarrassment. It's like my wilting feathers. Kotori looks at the failed clone through puffy eyes. Everyone told me I couldn't be a ninja. Everyone made fun of me for my jutsu. But you know what I didn't do? I didn't give up. I kept at it. I trained super hard. By this point, he's leaned over closer to Kotori, probably more than most people would be comfortable with, but somehow his smile made her whole situation better. He forms the same unique hand seal he used before, and puffs of smoke fill the playground, and from each puff of smoke, another 5 Naruto emerge. Perfect look-alikes. The failed clone in front of her fades from existence, although Kotori hardly even notices as she watches wide-eyed at the display. All those books said ninja can do amazing things. Throw fire, control the wind, but he can make more of himself if they can all do those amazing things, and this is what I can do now. Because I didn't let anyone's negativity stop me. Not even my own. For every single negative comment or thought, I put all that much work into my training. And now I'm probably the strongest ninja ever. He gives a hearty laugh. Surely it's just boasting. Takeo also talks about how strong he is, even though he's never shown it. And Naruto looks pretty close in age to Takeo. Can I do this too? If I train? Her sadness seems to have been replaced, and something else has taken its place. Hope. Enthusiasm. An even stronger desire to learn. Well, maybe not this one exactly. But there's a whole bunch of jutsu out there. And you have your own unique thing. I have a lot of friends who use special jutsu, and they're really strong. And I know you can be too. He grins and ruffles her hair lightly. A gesture not unlike what his father did. Kotori's expression shows a newly found determination at the display and the reassurance of the ninja in front of her. She smiles for the first time since meeting Naruto and gives a heavy nod, standing to her feet. That's the spirit. Now let's go check up with Miss Shina. She's worried about you, you know. With that, Naruto leads her back into the orphanage. He dismisses the shadow clones when he hears a commotion from the upper floors, apparently some kids marveling at the multiple Narutos. It's probably going to take a bit to get them to calm down from seeing a shinobi. Sorry, Miss Shina. Fudo POV. Fudo throws a chair at the stone wall and shouts. You fucks. You failed at the one thing you're being paid to do, and now the leaf knows we're here. And just when I sent the others out. Shit, it was unavoidable. Mizushi says, as Itsu just looks at him from the corner of her eye. Barusa, you go find the others. Itsu, you're staying here and preparing for the ritual. I'll need to assimilate whatever we gathered. If we're to fight the 9 tails, even an incomplete curse is better. Mizushi nods and flickers away. What do you need me to do, Lord Fudo? Take place next to the altar and channel your chakra into it. It needs refinement. She does as instructed, weaving the hand seal the Jashinists usually weave and begins connecting to the altar. It takes her some time to resonate with it. Meanwhile, her mind is filled with what Barusa said earlier and what she saw through his eyes. She grits her teeth. Lord Fudo, I believe Barusa is. Her sentence is cut short by a stabbing pain in her back. She gasps and tries to look back. Fudo grabs her by the face and slams her head on the altar, making her dizzy. I don't fucking care. You've been hiding something useful from me, and the only reason I put up with it is because I needed you more as a hunter. But now I don't need your services anymore. Die and become a power source for Lord Jashin's curse. Be grateful, mongrel. You finally get to be useful. He stabs her in the back again, and her consciousness fades. End of chapter 3.